Hi everyone, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and I'm going to show you how to do a daisy chain today. The daisy chain is a good use for a lot of random seed beads. It's a seed bead project that goes really quickly and it looks really, really cute. My daughter loves wearing some of these bracelets that look like little flowers. What we're going to be using today for this is we're using size 8/0 seed beads, and I have two colors of 8/0, my flower as well as my stem here. I'm using 11/0s if you want to get the leaf effect. I've showed here without the leaves and then with the leaves so you can get a little bit of a better idea. With the leaves I think looks so much cuter. You can also drop this space down to one bead if you don't want to do the leaves. But we're using the two colors of 8/0s. We're using 1, 4, or 3 millimeter Czech glass bead, and we're using 11/0 seed beads. In addition to that, I have an English beading needle, size 10, and I have 0.006 wildfire beading thread. So you can make this into whatever you want it to be. You could do even like a light pool for a little kid's room. You could do a nice long necklace for you to wear and to double up. And it's a nice simple little sweet pattern. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my 11/0 beads, and I'm going to make a stop bead here. If you're unfamiliar with how to do this, you can check out our other videos, but all it is basically it's going to anchor our end so that way our beads don't fall off. And I'm sewing back through my stop bead 2 times. The first thing I'm going to do now is I am going to add 8 of my flower color, which is going to be my petals. I'm using 8 of my purple beads that are going to be on the outside of my flower. If you use smaller beads, you can use 6 beads. If you want to use a larger Czech glass bead or 6/0s, you may use more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle around in a circle, going back through just the first bead that I put on. That's going to make my thread go into a loop. I'm going to take that loop and pull it down nice and tight next to the bead stop because I don't want that loop to open up. This bracelet does require a little bit of tension, so just make sure to do a nice loop. This kind of brings me flashbacks to doing this with my dad's fishing line and some seed beads when I was little. But I'm going to do that nice and tight. Then I'm going to pick up one of my Czech glass beads. From there, I'm going to count 4 beads over, and I'm going to go through the 4th bead. So my thread's coming out, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and the 4th bead I'm going to sew through in the same direction in a circle. And what that's going to do then, after I give a nice tight pull, is that Czech glass bead is just going to sit right in the center there, and that's going to be my first little flower. This first one here I'll do without any of the leaves. So I'm just putting on 3 of my other color of my seed beads, and I'm getting ready then to go right into my next flower. Again, I'm going to put on 8 of my petals, so 8 of my purple beads. Let them drop down next to my stems in a circular motion, going back through just the first of that 8 beads. Give a nice tight pull then. After that, I'm going to pick up one of my Czech glass beads. Count 4 over, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick up that 4th bead and sew through and give a nice tight pull. And that's going to make my next little daisy. Now I'm going to go into making the petals, if you want to make the petals, which makes the daisy chain look a lot nicer. So to do my petals here, what I'm going to do is after I give a nice tight pull, I'm going to put on one of my stem colors, which is going to be my 8/0 little chartreuse color. Let that drop down next to my last flower, and I'm going to pick up 6 beads of the 11/0s onto my needle and let them drop down. Just like I've been doing with my petals, I'm going to go back to the first bead of that set of 6, and I'm going to sew through just that first bead. Give a nice tight pull and a nice yank, and push that right down next to your last 8/0 bead. I'm going to add another one of my 8/0s in that stem color, 6 more seed beads. And I'm doing 2 of my leaves here. You don't need to do 2 leaves. You can do 1. You can do no leaves. It's up to you how many you want on your vine. So I've put 6 more beads on, and again sewing back in a circular motion through that first seed bead in that set of 6. Giving some tension, tighten up that chain. Give it a nice tight pull. I like to try to force my leaves to sit in opposite directions. Again, another one of my 8-0 base color. My stem color goes on, and then I'm ready to start my next flower. So my next flower again is going to be 8 of my petals that I need to put on. They're going to drop down next to my stem of my flower, going back through the first one, pulling nice and tight to get my loop. One of my Czech glass beads go on. Count 4 beads over from where I'm coming out. 1, 2, 3, 4. That 4th bead, I'm going to sew through. Pull nice and tight. You can see the leaves will go in all different directions, and the more you do, the more they'll kind of sit different ways. And you can have fun doing this daisy chain and doing that design. I'll make one more leaf for you so you can see what it looks like again. Again, what I'm doing is I'm putting on 1 of my 8-0 beads, letting it drop next to my flower, and then I'm going to put on 6 of my 11-0 beads. You can do this all with 8-0s, but the leaves look a little bit big for the flowers. That's why I dropped down to the 11-0 beads. You could use 15-0s as well. If you're using 6-0 beads for your flower petals, then you could use 8-0s for your leaves. I put those 6 beads on, sewed back through the first one, and just tighten it up right next to my stem. Again, I continue on with my daisy chain to the length that I want. And if you can make it into a necklace, you can make it into a bracelet. It looks nice even for barefoot sandals. And like I said, it's kind of a great whimsical little fast-moving bracelet. Even when you're doing the leaves, they're still fast-moving. So hopefully you had fun watching this. You get some of your beads that you have at home, make a daisy chain, and have a little fun afternoon making some of this hippie-style jewelry, or making accessories for little kids and little kids' clothing or rooms as well. So have fun making these daisy chains, and hopefully you check out some of our other videos on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and stop by one of our Potomac Bead Company locations. Thanks a lot for learning.